New college graduates go on to earn PhDs at a higher rate than many of the nation's other liberal arts colleges. New college students have received 74 Fulbright fellowships over the past 15 years, making the college among the top Fulbright factories in the state of Florida. But New College remains the target of DeSantis and his allies, the focal point of his anti-woke campaign against education that journalist Michelle Goldberg compares to the autocratic regime of Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. When DeSantis took over the board of trustees at New College, he installed loyalists like Christopher Rufo, a conservative activist who's led the battle against critical race theory in public schools across the U.S., calling it the perfect villain for his conservative causes. Mr. Rufo's claims and his ideas have been picked up by conservative politicians and pundits across the country, and they are all watching how he applies those concepts at New College. As the New York Times puts it, for Rufo, a reconstructed New College would serve as a model for conservatives to copy all over the country. As Rufo himself said, if we can take this high-risk, high-reward gambit and turn it into a victory, we're going to see conservative state legislators starting to reconquer public institutions all over the United States. Since Rufo joined the college's board of trustees, he has joined Governor DeSantis in his call for ending the school's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office, claiming it divides people.
One of the items that I discussed today with Governor DeSantis and with legislators present is that diversity, equity, and inclusion, which sounds great, but in practice divides people and offers separate judgments on the basis of race and identity. My opinion does matter, actually, unfortunately for you.
Tuesday, Rufo and DeSantis' other installed trustees eliminated that very DEI office. And students at New College are bracing for more.
What is it like to be a student at New College and be accused of being, a victim of indoctrination by the governor? Go for it.
I think it's really unfortunate because one of the reasons I really love New College is, as everyone said, you learn about different perspectives. I think there's this myth about us, which is why I think we're kind of being targeted, because a lot of the students do think alike. But what we think alike is people are people. People are human. We have empathy. We see someone who's not like us and we say, that's okay, you don't have to be like me. That's what's seeming as indoctrination, because we're actually learning about different perspectives that are not the majority. We're not just learning about white male history.
Is that what you think the governor wants you to learn about?
I think so. I think a lot of what they've talked about has been cloaking language. And I feel like they think we're not smart enough to see that it's cloaking language. So they'll say classical liberal education, they'll say family values, they'll say all these things. And every time they have the opportunity to change leadership, to change anything, it always is another white male.
When we talk about like wokeism, we're not actually talking about wokeism. That's not a thing. What is a thing is the belief in in freedom and the freedom of investigation, the freedom to learn the truth and to find the truth, that freedom which is under attack here, as well as the freedom to feel safe as the person that you are, whoever you may be. And those are values that I think the majority of people in this country have. And they're values that are under attack right here by DeSantis.
Governor DeSantis had some criticism of the academics here, and this is what he said. The core curriculum must be grounded in actual history, the actual philosophy that has shaped Western civilization. We don't want students to go through at taxpayer expense and graduate with a degree in zombie studies.
What is his definition of actual history? That's very, very vague.
What do you think it is?
I don't know.
I know.
He didn't tell me.
I think I know it.
I think that he just wants to show one side of history, but the world is messy. The world is the world is diverse. You have to show that.
So when it comes to that statement by Ron DeSantis, I personally find it, I guess, comedic and ridiculous in my own sense, because I'm a neuroscience major and I'm minoring in applied mathematics, computer science, and chemistry.
Zombie studies.
And so I don't think I've ever seen actually a major that was ever listed as zombie studies, and how that connection with history came about. I think that's someone who must have taken a zombie studies major to make that argument.
I mean, I'm an economics major with a finance minor. I would love to sit down with Mr. DeSantis and have him call me radical to my face. I mean, my views are not radical. What I want to do as a career is not radical. This semester, I'm taking 5 economics classes, 1 political science class, and interning at the radio station. I've not taken a gender studies class, and I will not take a gender studies class. No advisors told me to take a gender studies class, because at the end of the day, we learn what we want to learn here.
We've been hearing words like woke and like critical race theory for years now. I could not tell you what they mean. I literally could not tell you. Like, when woke, you mean, you know, practicing basic empathy, like valuing people who are part of your community. Critical race theory, you mean American history. Like, it's so confusing. So it's incredibly frustrating to constantly hear all these buzzwords and meaningless things being thrown at us when they have no basis and they don't even seek to understand why we're here. And I think the bottom line is that here at New College, we do not fear people being educated. We do not fear people learning about history. And above all, we do not fear any books. And I think that speaks for itself, honestly.
The New College students are fighting back. They have organized campaigns, and they are asking people to join a coalition to defend their college and their educational freedom by visiting SaveNewCollege.org. But Governor DeSantis is a well-funded and very powerful opponent. He won re-election last year with 60% of the vote and is now armed with what he believes is a political mandate. He has a supermajority in the state legislature. He now controls every aspect of Florida's education system, from higher education down to the school boards at the high school level, where he's endorsed and supported candidates across Florida. He is preparing for a likely 2024 presidential bid. Some of the wealthiest Republican donors in the country are cutting him 7-figure checks for his presumed campaign. And when it comes to New College, DeSantis has already earmarked more than $15 million for his changes to the school. This is an asymmetrical fight.
What's your expectation about what's going to happen?
I think that he's going to keep pushing forward this aggressive anti-democratic program across Florida, across the Florida university system, and he's going to try to take it national as well. And that's why it's important, if you are somebody who does not agree with these anti-democratic ideals, to pay attention to what's going on at New College, because it is something of a canary in the coal mine.
Governor DeSantis and his allies have said, well, New College needs to be overhauled because people aren't graduating at high rates. They're not getting high-earning jobs immediately after graduation. You know, there's the dropout rate after the first year is quite high. The school needs to be overhauled, really undermining the academics here and the performance of the students here.
I think it's absolutely fair to say that New College has issues. I am not a person that's going to say this college is perfect, our financials are great, our graduation rates are great, but there's absolutely, our housing is great. The issue isn't the students here. That's not the issue. The issue isn't, oh, there's too many LGBT and it's too woke and it's too diverse. That's a strength of ours, and I feel like they're using that as a weakness.
People have been advocating for greater finances to build better dorms and build better options and support systems for students. A lot of infrastructural things need help. And the state never would expand funding. But now DeSantis is all of a sudden throwing in $15 million to our administration now that they're coming in for some conservative takeover. They wouldn't just support this school. They wouldn't actually start supporting the school financially until they see it's being taken over in a conservative, ideological manner. And that really speaks to where their priorities are.
Is he going to win, though?
I think he's going to win if people don't take notice.
The main thing is the students. The students are still here. The students are still, you know, LGBT. The students still respect and encourage for like a diverse array of studies and want to really understand the truth of society. And as long as we are here, they can't change the culture of the school.
And this isn't to in any way shortchange the fight that I know you guys all have in you and the desire to stay here. But have you at any point considered leaving?
If it comes to a point where I no longer feel safe on campus, and it may come to that point, that's the point where I would have to very seriously consider going elsewhere.
What does that mean, not feel safe on campus?
There are a lot of extremist right-wing groups that have become aware of the school, and that attention is to the detriment of the student safety.
Do you think the student body is resilient enough to withstand like a concerted onslaught from the governor of the state?
I think we are. I think students are very passionate about New College. It's different than other schools because New College students develop a very special connection and bond with the school itself. So a lot of people are prepared to stay here and fight.
Governor DeSantis' war on New College has been specific and aggressive and thus far very successful. And it is far from over.